a good number of people who go low carb and keto struggle and have a difficult time with dealing with carbohydrate and sugar cravings. And the reason for that is that sugar and carbohydrates are highly addictive, and it's very difficult for us to restrict or limit the amount of highly addictive substances that we are consuming. So when we restrict carbohydrate, restrict sugar to minimal levels, but we still consume the sugar and carbohydrate at minimum level, at small levels, small amounts, or not on an ongoing basis. Our body constantly craves that substance, craves the carbohydrate, and it's similar to somebody who smokes cigarettes who wants to quit, and so they, or at least cut down. So they cut down and they only smoke a cigarette, let's say one cigarette a day, or one cigarette every other day, or every couple of days. The fact that they're continuing to consume the nicotine, even in smaller doses and smaller amounts, even if it's only once a day or once every few days, that the fact that they're still consuming those small and infrequent amounts of the addictive substance, in this case nicotine, keeps their addiction alive and keeps their cravings alive. And so someone who's trying to cut down on smoking and only smokes a cigarette once every day or two or three will constantly, continually crave cigarettes. The best way to get rid of cravings for addictive substances is, unfortunately, to completely abstain from the addictive substance. Once we do that, once our body goes through the withdrawals, once our body gets used to not consuming that addictive substance, our body stops craving the substance. So just as people who quit smoking cigarettes, they have to kind of power through those withdrawals, the cravings for the first few weeks or month or so. They're wanting to smoke almost all the time, and then pretty frequently. And then as time goes by and the weeks go by, as long as they don't have another cigarette, that addiction and those cravings will decrease and eventually go away completely after enough time has gone by, usually a month or two or so. Same thing with any addictive substance, whether it's caffeine, coffee, whether it's sugar or carbohydrates. If we continue to consume sugar and carbohydrate in small amounts, so a little bit of sugar or carbs here and there, once a day, every other day, a couple times a week, our body will continually and constantly crave sugar. It'll always be in our mind, and it'll be very difficult. We have to have a really strong willpower to resist the temptation to eat more and more carbohydrate and more sugar. Like I said, unfortunately, for a lot of people, because this might not be what a lot of people want to hear, unfortunately, the best way to get rid of and eliminate sugar and carbohydrate cravings is by completely eliminating sugar and carbohydrates. I say this from personal experience. I say this from working with many clients. I was a carbohydrate and sugar addict. I had to have carbohydrates, some kind of starch or bread or pasta or rice, potatoes with every single meal, every single day. Otherwise, I was unable to feel satiated. I had to eat something sweet on a daily basis. I was just really addicted. I had a really strong sweet tooth, and sugar and carbohydrates were a really big part of my diet all throughout my life until I went keto about 5 or 6 years ago. When I was keto, I stopped eating sweet foods. So the only carbohydrates I was consuming were from vegetables. But yeah, nothing sweet, no sugar. And that's where I got over my craving for sweet foods, for complex carbohydrates. And like I said, it just goes away. You don't crave those foods anymore. And even more so if you end up going zero carb, like I did a little over 4 years ago when I went strict carnivore. then your desire to eat anything that has any carbohydrates or any sugar in it really drops to zero. Like now and for the past number of years, I've felt zero desire to consume sugar, anything sweet, zero desire to consume any type of carbohydrate. Vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, desserts, all that stuff, none of that stuff interests me anymore. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. It doesn't look appetizing anymore. And interestingly, it doesn't really look like edible, like real human food to me anymore, even though I used to love all that stuff. So if you're struggling with cravings for carbohydrates and or sugar, the best thing you can do for yourself to get rid of those cravings is to stop consuming the carbohydrates and the sugar altogether. After a few weeks of abstaining from consuming carbs and sugar, you will no longer crave and desire them. They'll lose their kind of power over you, and you probably won't really even miss them at all. So if you found this video to be helpful, I'll go ahead and click the like button. If you think someone can benefit from seeing this video, go ahead and share it with them. And if you want to be reminded about similar videos that I put out in the future on health, nutrition, physical fitness, athletic performance, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And I hope you guys have a great day.